It was great. It was very, very good at my job. And then COVID hit.
Mm.
And like many, many other people was like, okay, I am good at my job. I enjoy my job, but this is not my purpose for why I'm on earth. I am not supposed to be doing this with my life. So I really dialed it back and I was like, what do I enjoy? What do I really want to do?
I remember getting to a point where I was on a walk with my kid, pushing the stroller and Googling, how do you find your passion? Like, how do you figure it out? Like, it was always like I knew I had something to say. I knew I wanted to do something, but there was no course in school. There was no extracurricular, and it wasn't for lack of trying that ever felt like, ah,
This
that's
was
it,
it.
you know?
Nutrition, fitness, none of it. Health and wellness is not a one size fits all approach. It's just not. And so it's really now I'm like, okay, when I ditched all the rules, like the
Mhm.
unspoken diet culture, very toxic rules, that's when I started feeling my best. Carbs were the devil, wouldn't eat them. And if I did, I would feel horrible about myself.
Mhm.
Like no bread basket at the dinner table. And I remember so vividly
Everyone
the
has a
first,
breadbasket
everyone
story.
has a bread basket. Everyone has a bread basket. But I remember so vividly, I was out with two girlfriends and I was like, I'm going to have the bread tonight and I'm going to add butter to it. And
I
I was
know, it's,
like,
like,
and then
wild.
I had this bread and butter and I was literally like, this is the best thing I've ever had in my entire life. And I was like, this must be like hand churned butter. Like they must have made it in house. And we asked the server and he's like, nope, it's stick butter. I will never forget that moment because I was like, I've been denying myself bread and butter for how many years because of what? But really, when I had kids,
Mm,
I started realizing, okay, all the things that I did before were no longer realistic. Like how I worked out, no longer realistic. How I ate I didn't want to eat like that anymore. I didn't want to be so restrictive. And I have girls. And so that was a really important thing to me is I want to raise girls that are confident in their bodies.
mm,
And it starts with me. And
mhm.
they are going to look at themselves in the mirror how I look at myself in the mirror. That's my whole philosophy, really, like theory of life is do more of what feels good to you and less of what doesn't. It
Mhm.
can be that simple. And so when I started doing that, figuring out like, okay, I'm going to have a bowl of pasta tonight. Let's see how this sits with me. And if I got a stomach ache or, like I was starting to listen to my body,
Mhm.
not my mind, because your
Mhm.
mind is the one that helps you create all these unspoken rules in the first place. And when we tune back into our bodies, we figure out what actually does feel good because that's our body's job, not our minds. Our
Yeah,
body's job is to tell us what feels really good to us. Like
yeah.
if you resist eating healthy or you resist having a movement practice or you resist having a mindfulness practice or you resist putting your phone down 15 minutes before bed or whatever the thing is for you, you'll keep resisting it. And it's just finding that
Yes, I
thing because
will.
you get it, that's also a practice. Resisting is a practice. So the more you do it, the more you're going to
Oh,
resist
damn.
it. Diets don't work because what you focus on grows.
Ah,
And so when you focus on cutting everything out,
yeah.
that continues to grow.
Mhm, mhm,
And
mhm.
so my way of doing it is you focus on adding things in. Honest, mindset is a massive, massive part
I know.
of how you view yourself, how you eat, how you move, because it all starts with a thought. When you have a thought produces a feeling, and a feeling produces a craving. It produces what you're going to do. That produces a habit. And then habits on repeat become who you are. They become your idea. They become who you think you are.
Right.
And so it all starts with a thought. And so if you think you can't do it, or if you think you're not there, you think it's not joyful, it won't be. Many times, and not just with food, with everything, our mind gets in the way. And that's not our mind's job.
Yeah.
Our mind's job is not to tell us what to eat or how to move. That's our body's job. But we have learned to listen to our minds, and our mind's like, have the cookie, have the bread, have that thing. But often what it's doing is it's filling a void with something that's comforting to you. Yeah.
Mhm.
Like knowing that you have a choice because autopilot habits take the choice away.
Mhm.
But when you can realize that you're in an autopilot habit, whether it's like late night snacking or snoozing your alarm and skipping a workout or, whatever the things are, realizing that in each of those moments, once you can see it, once you realize in the moment, that you're doing the thing that you don't want to do,
Mhm.
it gives you a choice. And that's why having awareness over it and like really thinking about it and thinking about what's important and think about the one thing in your life that you want to start changing and start seeing where you can change it. Like I tell every single person I work with, you already know the answers. Like you already have the
I
solutions inside
know,
of you.
Lindsay.
I know. You just got to pull the little bricks that have been there for years and years and years off on the top off. You got to unpile it so your little, power person can come through.